Jonathan Horn joins us. He is an author and former speechwriter and special assistant to President George W. Bush. His latest book is called Washington's End, The Final Years and Forgotten Struggle. Thanks so much, Jonathan, for being on with us.
Thanks so much for having me today.
Hey, now, before we even get to this is not your first go at it. You are also the best-selling author of The Man Who Would Not Be Washington, Robert E. Lee's Civil War and His Decision That Changed American History. So you love Washington.
Right, and everybody said after you wrote a book about the man who would not be Washington, you have to write a book about the man who actually was George Washington. So that's what led me to Washington's End.
Yeah, now, just so everyone knows, this is not a book about Washington while he was president. This was after he left being president and the life that kind of followed him when he was done, which was not what everyone thought would happen and not even what he had planned as well.
That's right. On March 4th, 1797, George Washington rode away from he transferred power to John Adams in Philadelphia, and he left the presidency. And he thought he was going to live out the rest of his days in relative peace at his farm in Mount Vernon. But his last years ended up being anything but peaceful. A little bit more than a year after leaving the presidency, he was drawn out of retirement, asked to take command of the armies of the United States once again, and drawn into very serious feuds with his immediate successor and his future successors.
Now you're saying he was brought out, and he was actually named Commander-in-Chief. And when people hear that, they think, well, isn't that the title of the president that the president usually takes? But in this circumstance, he actually took that title.
That's right, and you're right to ask that question. And that was going to be a problem because there was going to be a power struggle between the sitting president, John Adams, and George Washington, who had just been named Commander-in-Chief of the armies of the United States. By the way, and Adams appointed him without even asking his permission. And Washington wanted to be able to choose his second in command. And for that position, he wanted someone who he had specifically been told John Adams did not want. And that's the star of everyone's favorite musical, Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah, which is a great musical, by the way. It's a great musical. Now, one of the other things I was reading was Adams was very concerned that Washington and the people who loved George were going to make him into this idol, this hero. They were naming their kids after him. They were naming towns after him. And Adams didn't want that to happen.
Yeah, I think John Adams was very touchy about this. And we get a sense of this because during John Adams's presidency, people still want to celebrate George Washington's birthday the way they had. They held balls on his birthday. It was a big deal. And so John Adams gets invited to go to a ball, and he sends sort of a nasty response saying, no, the president of the United States cannot attend a ball in honor of George Washington. And of course, like today, that note leaked into the newspapers and caused a massive scandal in Philadelphia.
So scandals never end.
Right, and nor do newspaper leaks.
Right. One of the other thing, too, is we were talking about, George and in the peaceful transition of power. That was the first one that happened between George and Adams.
Correct. And so if you had been in Philadelphia on March 4th, 1797, you really would have seen something that no one alive had ever seen. Power peacefully transferring from one living head of state to another. And I think it's something that we take for granted today, and it's something we really should appreciate, especially at this moment in our history, what it took to make that transfer of power possible.
Yeah, obviously, I mean, we were saying that you were a speechwriter for President Bush. What is it like for you to write something and then be the person sitting there and hear what undoubtedly is the most powerful man in the world reading your words?
Well, by the time they come out of the president's mouth, thanks to very hard editing by the president, if the process works as it should, they really are his words. And you feel good if you feel like you've communicated the message that he wants to say to the country. And I think that's true for any president.
What was Washington's relationship with Adams? I mean, growing up, you think all of these guys are friends and, kumbaya, but that was not always the case.
No, that's true. And I think people are surprised to know that by the time George Washington died, he'd had a serious feud with the second president, John Adams, and he was no longer on speaking terms with the third, fourth, and fifth presidents of the United States. That's Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and James Monroe. George Washington was no longer talking to them. So the idea that all of our founding fathers were friends really is the stuff of myth.
What is the thing that you really want people to take away from this book about the man who founded this country?
Well, I hope people say, and you might say, seeing George Washington struggle in his post-presidency and seeing how hard it was to give up power? Does that make you think less of our first president? And for me, the answer was just the opposite. Seeing how difficult it was to leave power gave me even greater appreciation for the character it took for George Washington to set that important precedent for our country. And I hope that's a precedent that everyone in this country will cherish at this important moment in our history.
Jonathan, you've had an incredible career. I just have two more questions for you, and then we'll let you go. What is it like the first time you walk into the Oval Office?
Well, it's pretty scary, to be honest with you, especially when you know you're about to get edits on a speech. And President Bush used to edit with a big Sharpie marker, and he would draw. He was not hesitant to tell you that you hadn't gotten things right. So I was pretty nervous the first time I went in there.
And also, what is it like to be that close to the most powerful person in the world?
Well, it's really a privilege and an honor. And I think what was so valuable for me was I got a really up-close seat for how presidents make decisions. And that's been really helpful to me in my life afterwards as a biographer, because so much of what a biographer does is helping to explain how people in the past thought and made important decisions that changed the history of America. And being able to see that firsthand as a speechwriter, really being a fly on the wall for history, really is a privilege and an honor.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, we just want to let everyone know that if you love Washington just as much as Jonathan does, there's going to be a virtual event with our friends at Barrington Books. That's going to happen February 17th from 7 to 8 p.m. And people can go on their website and log into that and sign up for that. Jonathan, thanks so much for being on with us today. All the best to you.
Thanks so much for having me.